Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Woke by Accident podcast. I am your host, Jen Washington. This is a weekly chat about socially conscious topics impacting the culture. I would like to extend my gratitude in you listening to this podcast. It means everything to me, and I hope it is clear that this subject matter is so important to me. I care about our people, our future, and making a positive change in this nation. Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Woke by Accident podcast. And this episode is especially for the content creators of Color Challenge. Today we lost one of our great leaders, and I just wanted to acknowledge former Secretary of State Colin Powell and remember his great legacy. Vice President Kamala Harris put on her Twitter that Secretary Colin Powell was an incredible American and independent thinker, a barrier breaker. He dedicated his life to defending our nation and always showed the world the best of who we are. That's a great way to describe him. No matter what your politics were, you always thought of Colin Powell as a dignified American. It's a dignified man. So today we will remember him. Born April 5th, 1937 in Harlem, New York to Jamaican immigrants, Powell was a groundbreaking figure in Washington. He joined the U.S. Army after graduating from college in 1958. He had a 35-year military career. He served 2 tours in Vietnam and was stationed in West Germany and South Korea. He would go on to serve in the top roles under 4 presidents. First as a national security advisor to President Ronald Reagan, and then as chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff under President George H.W. Bush and President Bill Clinton, and as the first African American to hold the role. Powell then was tapped by President George W. Bush as Secretary of State. And as we know, Colin Powell was the first Black Secretary of State. Powell led the State Department during the September 11 terror attacks and favored taking military action against Al-Qaeda. He also supported the invasion of Iraq and appeared before the United Nations to present evidence that Iraqi dictator Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. The chief justification for the war in Iraq, however, rested on bad intelligence. Powell would go on to call his 2003 speech before the United Nations describing the weapons program in Iraq a blot on his record. Well, Powell served primarily Republican presidents and was floated as a possible candidate himself. He drifted away from the GOP in his later years. The retired 4-star general endorsed former President Barack Obama in 2008 over Republican nominee Senator John McCain and again in 2012. He also backed Hillary Clinton in 2016 and supported Joe Biden over former President Donald Trump in 2020 and said Mr. Trump was not an effective president. In a statement made today, Mr. Bush praised Powell as a great public servant whose counsel and experience was relied upon by presidents of both parties, and said he and the former First Lady Laura Bush are deeply saddened by his death. And this information comes from CBS News. He also was such a favorite of the presidents that he earned the Presidential Medal of Freedom twice. Colin Powell made enormous contributions to public service and philanthropy. He founded the Colin Powell School for Civic and Global Leadership at the City College of New York. He also was on the board of directors of Revolution Health. He served on the Council of Foreign Relations board of directors. He was a spokesman for the National Mentoring Month for at-risk youth. He did so much work giving back. I could go on and on. I just really wanted to uplift his memory and legacy for the great work that he's done for the United States, and it's just really to be commended. And so we will salute General Colin Powell for his work. I thank you guys for listening, and stay encouraged.